Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we are. We finally made it to Phase 5. But does it start off with a bang, though? Let's find out. What is going on, fellow movie lovers, and welcome back to the Luke Ponto channel, here to bring you guys another movie review. If you guys are new here today, welcome. Hit that subscribe button down below and that notification bell right next to it. Hit that thumbs up and share this video. You guys know what to do. But today, guys, here we are, another brand new film review, and also another MCU movie review. We're starting off Phase 5, of course, with Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. Once again, directed by Peyton, as was the first two Ant-Man films. Stars an awesome cast, including Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Jonathan Majors, Kathryn Newton, Michelle Pfeiffer, and Michael Douglas. Let's see what we got here today. This movie once again follows Scott Lang, played by Paul Rudd, and Hope Van Dyne, played by Evangeline Lilly, journeying along with Hank Pym, played by Michael Douglas, and Janet Van Dyne, played by Michelle Pfeiffer, as they explore the quantum realm where they interact with strange creatures and embark on an adventure that goes beyond the limits of what they thought was possible. So I saw this in theaters last night with my family, and I was going to plan on seeing it this weekend, but because I noticed that they were having it on a Thursday night like I did with Knock at the Cabin, I decided I'd go on a Thursday night with my family to go check it out, and this was my most anticipated Marvel project of the entire year, which, yes, I know Guardians fans are screaming at me because of that. But look, I love the first Ant-Man. The first Ant-Man is just, like, I wasn't expecting anything out of that movie. I was like, oh, Ant-Man? This is a dumb superhero. And then when I get to it, it's a lot of fun. It's really funny. It's got some good heart to it. And, of course, we have the sequel right here, Ant-Man and the Wasp, which wasn't as good, even though I loved Evangeline Lilly as the Wasp. And it's kind of like it was a breather after what we had to sit through for Avengers Infinity War. And it's a fun movie. And I did do a watch along for both of those films with my buddy the Bin Busters. So I'll put a link to his channel down in the description box below. So go check him out and go subscribe to his channel. We did that in the build up to this movie, and I gotta say, I was a little disappointed by this movie. I was hoping this would be the best way to kick off a phase in a Marvel Cinematic Universe. It wasn't the best way to kick off Phase 5, but I still really enjoyed it. Because I found a lot to admire about this movie, specifically the visuals and the look of the quantum realm. There was some really neat visual tricks that I really thought worked for this film's advantage. Yes, I know there were some moments that didn't quite work, but obviously, if I talk about that, I'm gonna be leaning into spoiler territory. But because right now this review is not gonna contain any spoilers. But the thing is, there were some really awesome visual tricks that this film really had to offer. The look of the quantum realm is beautiful, and what I heard about it is that they had some really cool technology to make it look like a living green screen. And sometimes you can tell that it's green screen, but to me, I was sucked and immersed into this world of the quantum realm, which I know was a dangerous world, but it was really beautiful to look at. And it has some really, again, great visual tricks that it goes for. And let's talk about these performances. Starting off with my man, Paul Rudd. Now look, this is a guy that I've been following for a very long time, even before he was Ant-Man. I mainly remembered him as a really, a comedy guy, of course. With films like I Love You, Man, The 40-Year-Old Virgin, films like that, Wanderlust. Those are films I remember him mostly from. But Paul Rudd has been knocking it out of the park lately with his career, especially since he became Ant-Man. And also, he was the science teacher in Ghostbusters Afterlife. And yeah, man, Paul Rudd, he delivers everything this character should be. He's funny, he's got a good heart to himself, and I don't know. He just really does a good job with his characters, even if they're supposed to be like the most comedic characters. He does bring some heart to them, and I really love that about him. And I do love the chemistry that he has with Evangeline Lilly, which, once again, phenomenal in this film as Hope Van Dyne. Like, their chemistry together just really works. Like, you feel these two as a good couple, and that's really what I gotta say. You really feel these two as a couple. Like, if you don't feel that, like, I don't know what to say. But I'm not saying you're wrong, because there's no right or wrong opinion. But what I'm saying is, like, you know, different strokes for different folks. But anyways, that's besides the point. Michael Douglas and Michelle Pfeiffer also were fantastic in this movie as Hope's parents. Once again, I'm keeping this very much so spoiler free. They were really good in this film together, and it was kind of nice to get to see them two on screen together again after Ant-Man and the Wasp. But Kathryn Newton, I've been following Kathryn Newton ever since Detective Pikachu, and like, I always knew that she had some hidden talent that I don't think anybody was really expecting. And she was really good in this movie as Cassie Lang. Now, I know a lot of people on the surface level might call her character annoying, but this is a morally father and daughter type of story. What they're going for, especially because after Endgame, it's a 5-year time jump once again, and Cassie's all grown up. So, and she did a really, really good job with this film, and getting to see her become a superhero as well, like her father. Again, very well done, even though it is a little bit rushed. Just a little nitpick there. It is rushed, but overall, it is really well. She does a really good job in this movie. And I can't forget, as I go on further with this review, Jonathan Majors as Kang the Conqueror. He has a very interesting backstory that is delved into in this movie, which I'm not going to spoil anything. But he was easily the best part of this movie, was Kang the Conqueror. He was a very interesting villain, and I loved getting to learn about him a little bit during this movie. And his backstory involving Janet, or Michelle Pfeiffer, and it's a really, really well done backstory. But at the same time, that's where it kind of leads to some of my negatives. But I'll get into that in just a little bit. But Kang is a very menacing villain, and Jonathan Majors really does, like, he plays that in such a unique way that I never really seen before, and it really works to the film's advantage, in my opinion. I loved Kang the Conqueror, and I cannot wait to see him in future projects. But, as I said, I do have some issues with this movie, because it's not perfect, but it still is a lot of fun. I will give it that. One thing I will say, like, my biggest issue with this movie is the second act. I kind of feel like the second act drags on a little bit longer than it should, because, no spoilers or anything, but the second act becomes a big exposition dump for me. Like, it's just filled with a lot of exposition, which I know is important for this phase, because everybody in during phase 4 was like, they're not heading anywhere. Like, there's no point to this. And we were getting, like, questions answered, of course, but I feel like with how they explain things in the second act, it was just like, they just over-explained it, and it just didn't really work for me. And also, I did not necessarily love the way this film wrapped up. Like, the last couple minutes, it was just weird. Like, that ending just made me go, what? What was that? That was just weird. And, like, I don't really, like, know exactly, like, what their point was to really do that, to be honest with you. Just wasn't a fan of that. I also do think that there's some moments of humor that I thought were honestly pretty forced. Because when there's moments where it's trying to be serious, there's just humor thrown in there for no reason, and I'm just like, what was the point of that? But other than those issues, I had a really good time with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Like, I'm kind of stumped that this film is getting mixed reviews. I don't think it's like that as bad as some people have made it out to be. It's not perfect. It's not the best way to kick off Phase 5. So, I mean, yeah, so that's why I was saying I was a little disappointed, because it wasn't the best way to kick off Phase 5. Even though some of the films to kick off each phase have been kind of a whimper, like Black Widow last year, or a couple years ago, I should say, it wasn't the best way to kick off Phase 4 in regards to the films, but it was still good. But I think with the way they kicked off Phase 3, they kicked it off with a banger. But this is not the best way to kick off Phase 5. That's why I was a little bit disappointed with this one. But besides that, I still really enjoyed it. And it's one that I definitely recommend seeing on the big screen. It is a lot of fun. Got great performances, awesome visuals, really awesome action, which I forgot to touch upon earlier on in the video. Really great action sequences, and they're really well directed by Peyton Reed. And I just had a blast with this movie. My family had a good time too. So, and there's a lot of things that you can admire and have fun with about this movie. I'm going to give Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania a 4 out of 5. If you guys enjoyed the first two Ant-Man films, I don't really see this one really letting you down, but I can say if you walk into this film with really high expectations, I will see this film letting you down. But it is what it is. So go into this film with at least modest expectations at best. But overall, I had a really good time with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and I think you guys will too. Again, just go in with modest expectations and you'll probably have a really good time with it, just like I did. But of course, this is my opinion. Let me know down in the comments below what you guys thought of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Is this your favorite of the Ant-Man trilogy? And do you think this was a great way to kick off Phase 5? Or do you think it kicked off with a whimper? Let me know all of that down in the comments below. Hit that subscribe button once again and that notification bell right next to it. Hit that thumbs up and share this video. You guys know what to do, like always. And look forward to more content hitting the channel very, very soon. I do plan on seeing Cocaine Bear next week for sure. I'm not sure exactly, but it is a plan. I'm planning to see it. But of course, we're going to be heading into the month of March with some really big titles coming out. We got Creed 3, we got Scream 6, John Wick 4, Shazam 2, Dungeons & Dragons. And of course, I will be continuing on my Phantasm series, and I still have yet to crank out my reviews for A Man Called Otto and At Midnight. I kept forgetting to do so, but I promise you guys, I will get those reviews cranked out before the end of the month. Just, I have to, find myself the time to do so, but I will get them out. But thank you guys once again for watching. If you guys want to see more content from me, make sure you subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.